So, not too long ago, I'd like to make cars with thruster engines. Now, it's not the most efficient, but basically, you just get thrusters to like push a crankshaft, and in sync, if they do it in sync, they'll basically start turning it. Now, that might seem a bit with like a bad explanation, but it'll be easier to tell you when I actually make it. So this was my first design, and it did not work. There was something wrong with it from the start, but I couldn't really tell what. So yeah, it just didn't end up working. But anyway, there'll always be a second sign as obviously, yeah. I definitely was out of practice with making these as I made them quite a long time ago, and for some reason it kept falling out of place, which shouldn't have happened. The problem was kind of fixed, but not really, as I tried to get it to work. I had some sensors, and it basically wouldn't work. You see, if this did work, you'd see it just rotating relatively smoothly, but it was not at all. So yeah, I just basically got with it. So yeah, let's start again. Now, this design was definitely going to be better, hopefully, as I actually knew what I was doing. But there's a major downfall which I was making out of wood, which is considerably a lot harder to see what you're doing than pipes. The reason I use pipes is that it's really easy to see where the bearings are and where I went wrong. But this was pretty hard, and for some reason it was locking up, which it shouldn't have been, although I realised I added 2 extra bearings, which made it happen. But anyway, so this didn't work either, so I started making another design. Although this design would be a lot better. You see, I'd always made it so it's vertical, but it doesn't really need to be. This design is going to be horizontal. So yeah, first the crankshafts is going to be in the middle, so obviously the thrusters push it backwards and forwards. And this design should be better as it can actually start on its own. And as you can see, it almost works. Not really, as it locks up because of the thruster applying pressure, but it actually works okay. Now, it also isn't glitchy out or doing anything bad, so all we need to do is make it so it's a bit more synchronized. Now, one of the downfalls with this is that it creates lots of not drift, but it basically just pushes your car slightly at the thruster. So anyway, I got this thing to work using a thruster and a sensor and some white paint, and now I'm going to make it so it's actually a car. Now I'd like to do some more with thruster powered engines because they're pretty cool, but also make one which is actually good instead of bad. So anyway, the also good thing about this thing is it would start on its own instead of you having to actually hit it with a sledgehammer, because lots of them you have to start them rotating before they actually work. So anyway, this thing is basically going to be a tricycle pretty much, but the problem is it wouldn't really start as the friction from the wheels. But it was a pretty easy fix where I basically just lift it off the ground to get it spinning and then move. Now the main problem is that it's not got enough power at the moment, and also it's not really perfected. Now the main problem is that it doesn't have enough weight in the front, which means it's a bit odd, and that's why it tips over backwards, which I think makes it slightly worse as it adds more friction through the wood. But now anyway, I made it so this thing can actually steer. But the bigger problem is that it can't really go up hills, which is to be expected. But I can't really bother to improve it. The way to improve it would be to basically add more thrusters or some more crankshafts, but I can't really bother to do that, so I'm not doing it. So as you can see, it actually goes at an okay speed. The wheels are basically just attached to, we just use some cogs to get the rotation force from vertical to horizontal. And as you can see, it just spins the thing. Now suspension is very useful as there's no collision, it doesn't have a collision, which means you can basically make it go through blocks, which is very useful for this. But as you can see, the engine is really bad for going up hills. It'll basically just stop as there's not enough really power. But the good thing about this is it's very light, so you can just hit it and it starts moving. Now, the bad thing about this is its turning circle. So I wanted to go up, obviously, up a mountain, see how good the things are. Well, I don't know, like hill climbing or something. But this thing cannot go up tiny hills because it can't turn. I was turning the whole time here and it just didn't turn. Now, I suppose using not enough weight being in the front, but it kind of sucked. So I doubled this up. Now, this has 5 wheels now, is a really bad idea since turning going to be even worse. But yeah. Also, the bad thing is that sometimes the wheels go out of sync, or one engine breaks and the other doesn't, which means the other way just stop working. Altogether, it's not bad, especially for a first design, and I definitely want to improve it. So as you can see, it actually goes at an okay speed, a little below walking speed, which is pretty bad, but it's not ridiculously bad. Except that it can't go up hills. I kid you not, it can't even go up, well, this tiny little hill. Now, which is absolutely quite ridiculous. So yeah, this thing was pretty bad. It would definitely use up a lot of fuel. I added a fuel tank to it, and it actually, well, used up a lot of fuel. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. This was a pretty bad video, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Now, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.